Hi students, welcome to our physics class now. So in this class we are going to discuss the topics evaporation, condensation, melting and boiling. So first, what about evaporation? But in everyday life we can see various examples for evaporation. For example, when you place the wet clothes after washing in the open place, so they dry. The water present in the wet clothes is evaporated. Similarly, in our house, so every day the floor in the house is washed with some water. So after washing, the water present from the floor will be evaporated. So evaporation is a nothing but phase change of liquid into gas at any temperature below the boiling point of the liquid. That liquid is called evaporation. The phase change of liquid into gas at any temperature below the boiling point of that liquid. So during evaporation, the molecules from the surface of the liquid will escape into air. That is why evaporation is a surface phenomenon. So for example, if you take liquid like water in the container, so these are the molecules present in the top layer of water. So during the evaporation, these molecules will escape into air, that is from the surface of the liquid water. That is why evaporation is a surface phenomenon. During the evaporation, temperature decreases. Suppose in this container evaporation is carried, then temperature in this system decreases. That is why evaporation is a cooling process. Evaporation is a cooling process. Evaporation is opposite to the process called condensation. The speed of evaporation or rate of evaporation depends on some factors. Rate of evaporation or speed of evaporation depends on some factors. Those are surface area of the liquid, temperature, wind speed, humidity. So these are the factors which can influence the speed of evaporation or rate of evaporation. So this is a clear information about evaporation. So once again recalling, the phase change of liquid into gas at any temperature below the boiling point of that liquid is called evaporation. So during the evaporation, so first the molecules present in the top surface of the liquid will escape into air. That is why it is a surface phenomenon. During the evaporation, temperature of the system decreases. That is why it is a cooling process. So it is opposite to condensation. But in the case of condensation, you can see the conversion of gas into liquid, but evaporation is related to conversion of liquid into gas. So rate of evaporation depends on surface area of the liquid and also temperature and also wind speed and also humidity. So this is about a clear little information about the evaporation, students. So now what about condensation? So condensation, what is? What about condensation? Condensation. But generally condensation in the nature takes place in winter season. You can see the effects caused by condensation in the early morning, especially in December, January, and February seasons. That is in the early morning. So, on the leaves of plants, on the grass, in the ground, on the mirrors of a bike, you can see small droplets of water or streaks of water. This formation of water is due to condensation. So condensation is a nothing but phase change of phase change of gas into liquid. Phase change of gas into liquid is called condensation. Phase change of gas into liquid is called condensation. But if the condensation takes place on any system or in any system, temperature slightly temperature increases slightly. That is why it is a warming process. And you can see in the condensation there is a formation of liquid from gas. That is why it is opposite to evaporation process. Condensation is opposite to evaporation. So phase change of gas into liquid is called condensation. But this happens generally in the atmosphere, in the nature, when the temperature of the atmosphere decreases greatly. So water vapor present in the atmosphere will be cooled and changed into droplets of water. Those droplets can be called dew. So the dew can settle on the leaves of plants, on the grass, on the window panes, and also on some various objects like stones like that. So dew is caused by condensation. That is why the phase change of gaseous state substance into liquid state substance is called condensation. But during condensation, temperature of the system increases slightly. That is why it is a warming process, and we can say this is opposite to evaporation. Children, you can use these 4 points to show the differences between evaporation and condensation. So you can use these points from condensation, and in the previous topic the points we told under evaporation. So those points you can use to write the differences between condensation and evaporation. So now what about a melting and boiling? Melting and boiling. Melting. So what about a melting now? So consider in a vessel we have taken some ice cubes. Suppose their initial temperature is at -5 degrees Celsius. Now we began heating this. So these are ice cubes which are present at -5 degrees Celsius. Now we began heating, and we also inserted a thermometer in it. So like that. So now after beginning the heating process, you can see the rise in temperature, that is from -5 to 0 degrees Celsius, like that. So after reaching that 0 degrees Celsius on further heating, so thermometer doesn't show any rise in temperature. So thermometer shows temperature is standing at 0 degrees Celsius till whole solid state ice becomes liquid state substance, means that from 0 degrees Celsius melting is started. So during the melting there is no change in temperature, but in the case of ice, during melting temperature is standing at 0 degrees Celsius. So the phase change of solid into liquid at constant temperature is called melting. The phase change of solid into liquid at constant temperature is called melting. So while melting, temperature remains constant. Temperature remains constant. Temperature does not change till whole solid state substance in the system is changed into liquid. So while melting, temperature remains constant. Melting point of a substance depends on pressure. Melting point of a substance depends on pressure. That is, we apply the pressure on the given substance. For example, if you apply more pressure on the ice cubes, its melting point decreases. When the pressure on the ice cubes decreases, melting point increases. So melting point of ice depends on pressure. So for that purpose it is told. So during melting, temperature remains constant. Melting is related to latent heat of fusion. So latent heat of fusion, nothing but amount of heat required by unit mass of a substance to change from solid state into liquid state at constant temperature. But here on heating, temperature rises initially from -5 to 0. After reaching 0, even your supplying temperature is not rising, standing at 0 degrees Celsius, but we are supplying heat energy. This supplied heat energy is called latent heat of fusion. This is used for converting solid into liquid. So for example, melting point of ice. Melting point of ice is 0 degrees Celsius at normal atmospheric pressure. Melting point of ice is 0 degrees Celsius at normal atmospheric pressure. So these are few important points related to melting. So phase change of solid into liquid at constant temperature is called melting. While melting, temperature remains constant. Melting of a substance depends on pressure. So melting is related to latent heat of fusion. And melting point of ice is taken as an example. So melting point of ice is a 0 degree Celsius. So this sentence is nothing but in the melting there is a latent heat of fusion. In the melting there is a latent heat of fusion. Next, what about a boiling? So boiling. Phase change of liquid into gas at a constant temperature is called boiling. The process of changing liquid state substance into gaseous state substance at constant temperature. It means that during boiling, temperature of the liquid does not rise, remains constant. But for boiling, we must heat the liquid. So to boil, we must supply the heat energy. So on supplying the heat energy, the temperature of the liquid rises up to its boiling point. Then the change of liquid into gas will be started. So till whole liquid changes into gas, the temperature in the liquid does not rise, it remains constant. That is why during boiling, temperature is a constant. It is a hot process. It is a hot process, whereas evaporation is a cooling process. You know, evaporation is a surface phenomena. It is a bulk phenomenon, because when you heat a liquid in a vessel, the change of liquid state substance into gaseous state substance will be started from entire liquid, not from the top surface, not from the middle surface, from the bottom to top. The molecules of liquid will begin to change from liquid state into gaseous state. That is why it is a bulk phenomenon. Boiling also depends on pressure. For example, if you take water, so boiling point of water increases with increase in pressure and decreases with decrease in pressure. When you increase the pressure on water, its boiling point increases. When you decrease the pressure on water, its boiling point decreases. That is why it depends on pressure. For example, boiling point of water at normal atmospheric pressure is 100 degrees Celsius. So you can use these points to differentiate between melting and boiling, evaporation and boiling, and also evaporation and condensation. Students, that's all the topic clearly. Thank you.